Well, hello, welcome back to Canary Cast and a game of terrible, terrible creative freedom. I'm joined by the two angriest people I've met all this weekend. It's Joe and Jacob. Joe, how are you?
Oh, I'm feeling a bit deflated, mate. It wasn't what we were hoping for, was it? But we'll get onto that.
And Jacob, a man described as the most passionate Norwich fan in the room. What did you think of that?
I'm ready to rant.
Right, let's just get down to the nitty gritty. First of all, what an opportunity missed to really stamp the mark. Norwich had a chance to take it to one of their direct title rivals, and they sort of bottled it. But it wasn't without a bit of controversy at the start because Emi Buendia and Todd Cantwell not in the squad.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of part of the day I've hated the most before the game, during the game, or now after the game. I think it's all pretty crap, to be honest with you. So yeah, kind of start off the day seeing Todd's being bid on for 15 million from Leeds. To be honest, I wasn't that bothered about him out of the side. I don't think he performed last week. I don't think he performed against Huddersfield either. But to then see Michael Bailey come up and say that Emi Buendia hasn't even travelled with the squad, or Marco Stiepen, I'm baffled, especially after yesterday, Daniel Farker saying they're both available. Unless something's happened to them both in a very short space of time, I don't see what's happened there. And the game's gone exactly how we expected it to, with no creative players on the pitch for the first 72 minutes. We don't create that many chances. And with Norwich, always the same way, no matter what league we're in, we always give the opposition a chance. And we did today. Not happy.
Having Emi Buendia and Todd Cantwell out is two huge creative forces within that side, absolutely removed, and they were replaced with Lucas Rupp, who might be a utility man, but he's certainly not creative, Joe.
No, for all Lucas Rupp's endeavour, he just isn't what we're looking for. I remember when we signed him, we were all a bit like, "That's a weird one." Steve Cook actually managed to turn him today, which was an interesting moment in the game. Um, there just is not enough penetration when you have a midfield of Lucas Rupp and Kenny McLean, no matter how hard they work. I think the only person sort of playing the vertical passes through the lines today was Ollie Skip, which he's brilliant at, to be fair, but he won't be able to do it on his own. He needs more creativity around him. There was just nowhere near enough penetration today. The sort of game you wish you had Emi Buendia for if he was fit and available. Um, the
And he's ready
winger,
to go. I'm ready for it.
yeah,
I'm ready now because
go.
this is just ridiculous. Like seriously, Daniel Farker, why say that he's available if you don't not going to bring him? Like I don't know. We know how stubborn he is, but come on, even Marco Stiepen could bring the ball in that game and just go into the holes where Bournemouth were there waiting to be taken on, and we've just done nothing. And it's just so frustrating when it's an opportunity completely missed. They were sitting back so deep because they're worried about Hernandez and Plaheta. Perfect for someone to be in that hole, and you've just got no one. Kenny McLean and Lucas Rupp just do not offer any kind of attacking output. They didn't play that badly, to be fair to them, but you can't have both of them. It's making me think, right, I actually don't mind Moritz Leitner, which I never
Yeah.
thought I'd say.
Whoa,
And
okay.
and Mario Vrancic, yes, he can't run. But oh my goodness, how nice was it to see someone be able to not pass? I was saying to Joe, Lucas Rupp and Kenny McLean actually play netball rather than football. They pivot. They pivot side, backwards, never bloody forwards. And it's just so frustrating to watch, especially when you go to spunk a tenner on it. It's just like, what is the point?
Again, another great thanks to our sponsors, FansBet. But let's have a look at the actual first half because it wasn't a particularly spectacular watch. And about halfway through, obviously, Norwich conceded. What could Norwich do better that they then improved on in the second half?
Well, what they can do better is replace Christoph Zimmerman, mate, because Christ almighty, I think I've seen buses, tanks, bloody anything move quicker than that. The thing is, Dan was quick, and we saw that even like you can see that in clips of him at the start of the season, whatever. And Christoph is up this close to him, like so touch tight, basically. And it's like, okay, if you're going to match him for pace, perfect. But if you're massively slower than him, which he gets turned like so easily, and the shot is scuffed. It's not a worldie really. He's hit it enough, but not with any real menace. And I'd say Tim Krul should save it. I've seen people say it's a perler and a worldie. I'm disagreeing with all of those.
I think it was far enough out for the argument of Tim should have saved it. I think the distance he is from goal justifies Tim should do better there. And you saw Tim punched the post himself. He knew he should have done better, I think. I don't really know what we were trying to do today. We obviously went with wingers. And I know we spoke about having a 3-man midfield and wingers in the build-up to this game. But, Bournemouth got 3 centre-halves there. Pukki's not going to win an aerial battle against any of them. So I don't really know what the thinking was.
And Timu Pukki's not a target man. If you're going to put crosses in the box, put Jordan Hugill on. They're like Xavi Quinter is actually Jordan Hugill's wet dream because he just whips the ball in areas. And every single time that Jordan Hugill was on for 10 minutes, he won every single header and then won a free kick, which, oh my God, we'll get onto it later. The thing that summarised it up, Jordan Hugill wins a free kick. Great, okay, the subs are making a difference. We pass the free kick short, turn and lose it. And oh my God, I don't think I cannot say the amount of expletives I went at one point there because you've got everyone in the box and you pass it short. Why? Why would you do that? It doesn't make sense when you've got 3 strikers on the pitch, 2 centre-backs up there and a couple of tall midfielders and you go, nah, fuck it, we're going to go short. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that just summed up the whole game. And for me, Daniel Farke's got to be questioned here because whilst I have complete trust and faith in him, the tactics, like me and Joe watched it again together and I watched it and we're like, where's the creativity coming from? And the first half was literally 2 teams without really that much of a creative force. The difference was Bournemouth had Dan Juma and we let him turn and shoot. That was basically it in the whole game, really.
Arguably, go on, Joe.
The most insulting bit of it, if that's the right word, I'm not sure it is, but Bournemouth were 1-0 up at half-time, and they've obviously said at half-time, right, we can shut them out. They're not going to penetrate us. They haven't done it all first half. They're just having shots from distance. We can just sit back, soak it up, and we'll win 1-0. And it was so predictable. Like, you just knew that was going to be the outcome after about the 55th minute. You mentioned Hugill there, Jacob. He did win his headers, and at the end he had that chance that was an easy save for Begovic. But you think if you give him an extra 20 minutes, there might be 3 or 4 of those chances for him. Like, it was, and we had a slight formation change just after the break, didn't we? We went 3 at the back, 2 up top. One of them's bloody Onel Hernandez. You've got Ida and Hugill sat on the bench.
It's bad, isn't it? Because let's be honest, Onel Hernandez is not known for his accurate shooting in few opportunities because he takes about 6. They're either going to go wide for a throw-in or they're going to hit the top corner, which is rare, let's be honest. He only scored 8 goals the last time he was in the Championship in almost 46 games. So, and everything, like you were saying, Joe, about like Hugill being on the pitch, bring 2 strikers up because, answer me this, how many times did Asmir Begovic spill a shot? Every single shot we had at him, he spilled, which not all of them he could catch, but he doesn't like to claim the ball. He likes to parry it out. And there's just so many opportunities. It's one massive opportunity missed. And I fear what this team looks like without Emi Buendia of one leg today would have created more than Lucas Rupp and Kenny McLean combined.
Yeah, if that is the future tactical outlook for Norwich City, that is not a promotion. That's not a promotion.
You're not getting top 6. There's no way. Unless you go, and like you're saying, Joe, we changed the tactics. But again, it's like Plaheta and Hernandez were getting 2 on them. They were getting overloaded themselves, weren't they? So they couldn't go to the byline, and Bournemouth were dropping deep. So, okay, right, we'll think about that. Our 2 quick wingers cannot get in behind. Right, so now we've got to go into the middle. Okay, but we've got Lucas Rupp and Kenny McLean on the pivot. Oh, crikey. So we can't pass forwards because they can't pass forwards because they have no creative input in any game I've ever watched them play because they're so frustrating. Then we can't go down the wings because our wingers they're being blocked out. So what do? We're going to wait. We're going to wait and see if it keeps going. And let's be honest, what does Albert Einstein say? I've put it on Twitter before. The definition of madness is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. I'm just like, what is happening here? There's no overlaps to stop the 2 players doubling up on Plaheta and Hernandez. So you can't go down the wings. And then you wait about 15, 20 minutes to bring on Mario Vrancic on. And the first thing he does is play a ball into space. And Max Aarons is open. You take 2 players out of the game. And it's just, it's so frustrating. It really is.
The difference with bringing Mario Vrancic on straight away, like what would have been 3 or 4 passes, just sideways passes across the midfield to switch it to the other flank, becomes just Mario just doing it himself in one pass. Unsettles the Bournemouth defence. They have to then shift across, it's just more efficient and more effective than these little sideways passes across the midfield. Like, just spread it, lads. The one time one of the few times we done that, I think it was Skip that played the ball, and then there was the Aaron's penalty
Yeah,
shout,
yeah.
which probably wasn't a penalty for me. I think he played the pass and he made the most of it. Probably not quite a pen. I think the ref probably got that one right.
There was
But yeah,
another penalty shout as well that was also ruled out by the referee. Like, do you think, like, obviously it sounds pretty dire from what we're explaining, and it probably wasn't as bad, but there was two penalty decisions ruled out. Norwich did have the plurality of possession. They were all over them. Are we being a tad harsh just because the thing came out?
No.
Or
Because I've seen this, Harvey. No, I'm going to cut you off because I've seen this. I've seen people say this is the greatest Norwich half of the season so far. No, it's not. What do we create? What earth did we create in that second half? Yes, we had possession. Great. I hate the whole, we've had more of the ball, so we've dominated the game. Bournemouth was so comfortable. Bournemouth was so comfortable. There was not one gilt-edged chance in that game where we're like, should have scored. At least against Preston last week, we'd say, should have scored. We created more. There is not one chance where... Did we have a chance from inside the box, Joe? I actually can't... There's chances outside the box. I can't think of one
Hugo
inside
header at the end. Hugo header at the end. That's
and
all
even
I can
that,
think.
I wouldn't say that's a good chance. I'd say that's a half chance at best for him to try and muscle out a defender and loop it over Begovic. I wouldn't say that's a good chance. Yes, there were odd balls here and there that fall into place. But at the end of the day, if you're not creating opportunities where you're like, we have lost it there today, we're unlucky. No, it's that we were not penetrative enough. And there is not, we haven't obviously looked because we're doing it straight after the game. Daniel Farker, for me, cannot give one good actual reason as to why Emi Buendia is not in that 18 today.
It's a very odd situation to say he's perfectly ready. He's in the new third kits video, and then he makes absolutely no appearance. So
why is he not travelled? Why is he not travelled? I want to know. I'm so desperate to know.
That will be definitely up for debate. Let's now move on to...
Can I just expand on that, Harvey?
Go for it.
So Buendia, we don't know what's been said. Maybe he's been given a kick up the arse and Farker's saying, no, I'm the boss, which he occasionally needs to do. But
no, you cannot do that, mate. You cannot do that with your best player. I'm sorry. We know how stubborn he is. He's done it with Oliveira. He's done it with Shreveni before when Leitner. Look at Leitner being a complete outcast with Tom Tribal. They've all kind of said things where you're like, okay, they've questioned Farker. And obviously, Emi Buendia's come out and said, I would like to go to the Premier League if there was an option there. But like you say, like Harvey said, why on earth would you market him? Why would you say he's available and give us all hope for him not to even bloody travel? Oh, it's just like, you can't do that with your best player, mate. And look at the results today. If you win that game, Daniel Farker bats away any criticism. But literally, you can say there's an Emmy-shaped hole. You can see a heat map there where you need a number 10 to be able to put in a nice little pinpoint ball. If Mario Vrancic can do it on no football for a number of weeks now, and let's say he can't run, like his fitness is not great anyway, but for him to be able to control that game for the 20 odd minutes he was on, imagine what Emi Buendia could have done. It's disappointing.
It's not just Buendia, is it? We were out without Cantwell again, and we obviously don't know who's made that decision. But you think Max Aarons has had just as much, if not more, interest. And he's played all 3 games, and he's looked committed in all of them. He hasn't. It's not like his head's elsewhere. So if hopefully this isn't the case. But if Todd's chosen not to play because his head's in the right place, not in the right place, just fucking get on with it.
Didn't he do a video? Didn't he post a video of something else on Instagram earlier?
During the music video, yeah.
Why are you doing that, mate? Like seriously, I see people say we're being too harsh on one of our own. This is the most stupid bloody thing you can do. Why would you do that during a game? For crying out loud!
Need to find my popcorn. Hang on.
But we're losing a game. Why would you post something? It's just he puts a rod for his own back at times. I don't actually care what they do outside of football. I will only criticise him mainly on performance. But that is just a stupid thing to do when he's obviously not happy with how people portray him. He doesn't help himself.
Let's have a look at the attacking third, because obviously the exclusion of Emi Buendia and Todd Cantwell, 2 creative forces within that side, is going to be a big detriment. So let's consider that it's quite likely that the pair of them may end up leaving. What is the solution?
Not that. Whatever it was today, not that ever again. I don't want to see Kenny McLean and Lucas Ripp in the same 3 again, because otherwise I think I might just spontaneously combust.
It's going to have to be Mario, or then you're looking at bringing Mo Leitner back in from the fray. Like,
Or you just need to go out and buy someone. I don't understand this. I'm so confused as to what. There's something going on, isn't there?
I am going to play devil's advocate here, because there was the consideration, I think, from Daniel Farker about the chances of at least one of their creative players going, and that was by the introduction of Dowell, who has then since gone injured for whatever reason. Todd Cantwell has decided that he's now a Leeds player before anything's even happened, and Emi Buendia, God knows. So, is there a little bit of like Daniel Farker's been forced into a position where he doesn't really have those creative players?
You do not go into a press conference and tell the whole Norwich fan base Marco Stiepermann and Emi Buendia are available and then not use them. They are available. He said it himself. There's no reason, and not reason any I've heard yet, to say that they're not available. Todd, I don't really care about. Like you say, I can understand why he's not been put in, because his head's not been right the whole season. Marco Stiepermann hasn't had any transfer kind of interest. Okay, he might not be fully match fit, but even Josh Martin, he's only just come back. Why is he on the bench instead of Emi Buendia and Marco Stiepermann? I know he's a winger, but like he's not going to create more than them two. Surely it's very, very odd, and it's Daniel Farker's cutting his nose off to spite his face, isn't he? Because he's lost the game.
if you're not going to put a number 10 at least on the bench, then you haven't got that flexibility to change systems and play a 10, have you? You've got to then stick with the wingers, which is not going to work against three centre halves. From the offset today, it was baffling at times.
We were so easy to defend against, weren't we? Bournemouth literally sat there, and they won't keep that many clean sheets this season, Bournemouth, because when we did somehow get through in terms of a Mario through ball, Mario put a lovely through ball over to Hugel for the first time. I think it was 89 minutes, wasn't it, Joe, that we were screaming out for it, and it happened. And Steve Cook is it's a lovely challenge, but it's a last-ditch challenge all the same. For Bournemouth are going to struggle against teams. That's why they'll be in and around there. I don't know if they'll get top two, but their defensive points are not as strong as their attacking, are they, really?
One last thing I will talk about in match is something that I've obviously taken issue with in the past. If you go and listen back to all of our podcasts, is Daniel Farker's substitution timing. So the first one was introduced on the 70th minute, and that was McLean for Vrancic, a more creative outlet. Far too late in my opinion. Hernandez for Eder on the 74th, and Rupp off for Hugel in the 81st, giving them absolutely no time to change and adapt to the game. What is it going to take for Daniel Farker to make a substitution in a minute that starts with a 50?
Nothing. Like, if that's not going to, then nothing will, because that game was screaming out for someone a lot earlier. Like you were saying, Harvey, if Mario Vrancic had 20 more minutes, we would have had at least 2 more chances created by him, either playing the ball out to the right or left, because he did. Lucas Rupp and Kenny McLean did not play that badly. I think Kenny was poor in the goal, not as bad as Zimmerman. But it's loyalty, and this is what's really getting to me now, because if players are not playing on merit, it's because Daniel Farker prefers them. Because you cannot tell me that Christoph Zimmerman from last week should be playing this week, and he's at fault for the goal. I don't care if Ben Gibson hasn't played for 2 years. He's better than that, because you can argue like Christoph Zimmerman hardly played last season. He's playing this year.
I just don't get why you would bring someone in
exactly.
and not be playing.
You're spot on.
He's not even playing under 23 games. Like,
that's what we were saying earlier, wasn't it? If he's not playing, okay, get under 23 games to get him fitness. If he's not fully match fit, Ben Gibson is not as slow on the turn. I don't care if he's not played for 2 years or whatever. You put him in, and then I would be more than happy to be like, okay, I was wrong. But I cannot see in a world where Christoph Zimmerman is going to be better or quicker on a turn than Ben Gibson for that chance. And Daniel Farker's loyalty has cost us the game today.
Well, let's have a look at what that does to the tables, because I think that's quite interesting at the moment, because that has languished Norwich in unlucky for some 13th, with 4 points from 3 games, with a goal difference of 0. That's not exactly how we expected Norwich to start the season.
I actually think that the hangover from last season, obviously we were all pointing towards it in pre-season, but it is actually a massive thing. And I was saying to Jacob before the game even kicked off today, like if we went undefeated for the first 5 games, I actually think that's quite a good turnaround from last season, especially the back end of it post lockdown. But it's interesting because we now played a poor team last season, a team just outside the playoffs, and a Bournemouth, a fellow relegated Premier League team. And we what we've seen, I think we look pretty mid-table at the minute.
No, I agree, mate. Without that special sparkle in there, which I think Marco Stiepen can offer at this level, and Amy Buendia undoubtedly can. We look, like you say, very average. Yeah, we look good on the ball. That's great. I keep possession all day, all night. I couldn't care less, because at the end of the day, we still don't look like an attacking threat, realistically. There was not a chance in that penalty box today where we thought, that's going in, or someone's missed a sitter. And that's the difference. Bournemouth had a couple. Tim Krul made a couple of very good saves because Placheta switched off. I don't think there's enough options going forward. It's just we were saying, Harvey, we were joking about pissing the league, all of this sort of thing, and it was always going to take a while. We said the main thing was the momentum thing, which Joe has talked about, and the new players settling in. It's always going to take a while to click, but at the moment, if you're not going to replace Emi Buendia and Todd Cantwell and have that sort of team, you're finishing nowhere near the playoffs.
Bournemouth were happy to concede possession. It wasn't an issue for them. They knew they could stand there and take it for the whole 45 minutes.
And that's a team that are not, and that's a team that's not defensively strong, Joe. No. They are not strong in. They were not like, oh, this Bournemouth team is bloody good at defending. It was so easy because even on the commentary, you could hear Andrew Sermon, who was I wouldn't say he's a tactically insightful in everything he says, but even he could realise that just get behind them. We weren't even getting behind them. We were playing in front of them, and any team who's got a 5 at the back formation and 3 centre backs, if you're playing in front of them, that's easy. That's not even difficult. If we didn't stretch them enough, we didn't look like we just aimless crosses, which weren't. It just did not really. There was no. I don't really know what the game plan was today. I still can't fathom looking at it. Watched it for 90 minutes, and I don't know how Daniel Farke puts out that team today and says, right, this is how we're going to win the game. Because I honestly don't know how that even. I don't know how that. I'm just bumbling because I'm so confused. I just don't know how he thinks that midfield, which is the key part of the championship, is going to win a championship game. I just don't really understand it. I just don't get it.
The two times we did get behind, we did stretch them, was when Onel played an early cross for Pukki and he outstretched it and just missed it. And when Mario put the ball over the top for Hugo and Steve Cook made that brilliant last-ditch tackle. And I think you'd have to say they were our best chances today. We didn't do anything else. And if that was the game plan, then we done it twice and didn't really do anything with it. And if over the course of 90 minutes, if you're only like generating 2 chances of which you're trying to generate, like that, if that's the game plan, get it in behind the defence early. We only done it twice. So like after an hour, change it. But because there wasn't a number 10 on the bench, we couldn't really. We just thought, well, 3 strikers then, go for it, which was actually quite nice to see, but far too late.
Even in the first half, mate, the press. What was the press? It brought, like, when in the first half, Bournemouth pressed us very well and multiple times. Well, look at the goal, for example. We kick it aimlessly high, they win it back, and they go and score. We didn't press at all with enough kind of vigour or endeavour. And when Mario Vrancic comes on, the first thing he did, like you're saying, Joe, for that chance to flash across to Pukki, that was because Mario Vrancic has come on and won the ball. It's like, give me something. Lucas Ripp and Kenny McLean didn't play badly, but they offer nothing going forward, and you can't have both of them in there. And Ollie Skip, who does his job very well in there, and he will keep doing his job very well at this level because he's a top operator. But yeah, they just don't. We missed a whole opportunity, and you could see it simply because Timu Pukki keeps dropping back, and he's trying to fill in that space, and it's just put Pukki back, put Pukki into that 10, let him create and have a bit of space. Put a Hugel or an Eder up there. I don't know.
Well, that brings us to something brought up by NCFC numbers just now. It looks like Pukki is almost, if they're going to play this system, Pukki doesn't fit into it because there was 33 crosses today, and that's the most Norwich City have ever put in since April 2019. And Jamal Lewis and Max Aarons only reached 10 plus crosses in one game, but both fullbacks hit 10 today. 10 crosses. But if you're crossing into little tiny Timu Puki, it's not going to work.
And we said this in the preview. Me and Joe, we like football. We are not qualified to Daniel Farke's level. And even we said 2 strikers, or 1 striker against 3 big centre-backs, that's never going to work. Like, if you're going to cross it, then that's just not going to work. Okay, let's put 2 up top. And even if it doesn't work, even if a cross comes in and Steve Cook slices it slightly on the edge of the box, which happened a couple of times, there's still no one bloody there anyway. There's no bloody number 10. So what's the point of crossing? It was just, all of it is just baffling.
If you're going to have Pookie up top on his own and wingers, sorry Harvey, just quickly.
No worries.
Then if the wingers are going to stay wide, then Pookie's not going to do anything on the box on his own for reasons we've just said. Then the onus is on either Kenny or Rook to break from midfield and get into the box late and potentially win a header. Like, probably not, but potentially. If that's your game plan, if you're relying on Rook and Kenny McLean to help contest headers, like, I don't know why we thought that would work.
And like you say, Joe, like, if we're going to go full out wings, get your fullbacks to overlap. Because there was nothing. I've never seen us or a team play 5 at the back so badly. Like, look at Wolves, for example. They put it down perfectly. Like, we had that extra man in defence for a reason. Okay, maybe bring him out. Maybe bring Ben Godfrey into the midfield. Bring it out with the ball because Bournemouth was so deep. And then a Ripper or McLean can go forwards. But it's just so, everyone's just, again, you could put a circle around everyone as well. It's just so narrow. I know you said there was lots of crosses, Harvey, but it didn't really feel like there was any opportunities there where it was a last-ditch defensive clearance where you're like, oh, it's so close, it's just gone over the bar, anything like that. Xavi Quinter put it up. But I don't think there was really one corner where I was like, that's a poor delivery. But we don't win the first header. We don't win the second header. I don't know why we're trying to cross a ball to Timu Puki against 3 defenders. We're going around in a loop because it's just the same shit happened today, and it's just so disappointing.
Well, with that in mind, and bear in mind, I feel like we could probably talk for about 3 hours about this not so great performance. I think we'll bookmark that there. We will end with 2 points. What is the 2 things you'd take away from this game, and how do we improve on them? We'll start with Joe.
Max Aaron's commitment and how he's handled himself over the last few weeks, I commend him for, much better than Todd. And apart from the goal, which I think Tim could have done better with, he did make some really nice saves. But I'm stretching for a silver lining, really, to be honest with you, lads.
And before we get our great monologue, who is the one player you would swap out of this team, Joe? To improve things. One player.
Lucas Rook immediately springs to mind. Even if it means playing Tete and putting Skip further forward, or bringing Mo back in. I don't want to single him out. I haven't got a vendetta against him. Anyone who puts a Norwich shirt on, I want to play well, obviously. But ever since we signed him, I don't know what he's about. I don't even know his position yet. I don't really know what he brings to the team. And unfortunately, yeah, I would take him out. I would. I think he's even had his chance. I think you could say he's had enough chances. Certainly at Premier League level, he was even involved in the squad most weeks, which was just baffling. But there you go.
Go on then, Jacob. What are you taking away from this game?
I'm taking away from this game that,
apart from a sense of dread,
my confusion rate is at all-time high, because I don't know why we've just played 3 seasons under Daniel Farke with a number 10 in every single game, for us then to go up against a potential promotion rival without any number 10s anywhere near the team, try and play Lucas Rupp and Kenny McLean together to try and give us some creative freedom, and give someone who scored 29 goals the last time he was at this level absolutely no service whatsoever in a game where we want to win, where we need to win. You know, the pressing game wasn't convincing, and we want to build momentum. Like Joe said from last season, you need to build some momentum as quick as possible. Even a draw today would have been good. You know, a last-ditch draw would have been great. It just never looked like happening. So I never want to see McLean and Rupp in that same midfield again, because it will never, without a creative number 10, because it will never work. The second will be, we need to be a lot smarter with our transfers, because realistically, players are getting influenced, aren't they, at the end of the day? So you've got to look at it in terms of, right, do we bin them off early? Do we look at how are these getting out? It's last 2 game weeks we've had Aaron's linked and now Cantwell linked. Buendia, not for some reason, not turning up. So that's 3, or Aaron's, to be fair, Joe, you're completely right, was very good again today. And his professionalism is second to none. But we need to look at that the other 2, why those kind of things are coming out. Because it does influence the squad, of course it does. And probably makes other people question why they're there, what they're doing, all of that sort of thing. Silver lining, there is none today. Absolutely none. I'm done. So I'm done.
Fair
It's
enough.
weird that those. Sorry, Harvey. Just quickly, it's weird that those rumours, Jacob, they always appear like Friday night, Saturday morning, every single time the last few weeks. It's weird.
I think there's a
The
video
club
in it.
wouldn't leak that.
I think there is a video in it because it's now happened so often that it's noteworthy. I don't want to put my tinfoil hat on just yet, but is there a leaker in the club? Is there someone who is out there pushing these stuff? Is Ben Godfrey going to happen next game?
Well, it'll be the agents, mate. It'll be the agents who want their. But then we've got to have that talk with these players. We've made you. So let's stop all this rubbish with your agents trying to spout out to journalists who then bring it out last minute. Like we saw Teemu Pukki earlier being linked, or apparently there's 5, 6 Premier League clubs. I don't know what that's in, because the way he finished the season, I don't think there was any chance he was staying. Apparently, if by January we're nowhere near it, he'll be off. It's like, where is this coming out from? We've done so well in the last 3 years not to have any of this come out, and that's what I commend Stuart Webber on. Why is it happening now? It's very odd, and it's obviously impacting the team, because last 3 games, let's be honest, even though we've got 4 points, I think we've looked very, very average.
I will leave our lovely viewers, who, if you've stayed this long, thank you very much. I'll leave you with this. Daniel Farke, in a angry and fired up press conference, just said, "I just hope this bloody transfer window ends soon." And everybody, thank you for watching. Do like and subscribe, and over the next week there could be some big changes. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, just a quick one. Canary have teamed up with FansBet, the bookmaker that is made by the fans for you, the fans. We are able to offer you an introductory offer whereby FansBet will boost your deposit by 50% up to the value of £100. To use this offer, click the link in the description below.